Are you a fan of wasabi? Now, I'm not talking about the stuff that you buy in tubes from the supermarkets, which is basically kind of coloured horseradish, but rather the fresh kind of vibrant green paste that you might have had if you've had sushi. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've not really had wasabi before, and I was a little bit nervous about going off and trying it, because you always got to taste these things when you go out and do food, because I'm not really someone that can tolerate really, really hot things, but I was pleasantly, that depends what it is, pleasantly surprised. So going off to Europe's only wasabi farm, can you believe that? Europe's only wasabi farm, right here in Hampshire, was a real education. So the Wasabi Company's Nick Russell showed me how they grow the plants, which is very similar to watercress. He also explained why it continues to be one of the most lucrative and difficult plants to grow on the planet. Lots of other people have tried. But as you'll hear, I got rather excited about discovering a new kitchen ingredient.
Everything we do here is by hand, all the planting and the harvesting, and that allows us to come and select little beauties like this one. So we can pick one that's got a fairly good sized rhizome on it and leave the others in the ground to continue to grow. Now what we do is just reach right down at the bottom of the plant, grab it right at the bottom of the stem, and we give it a little wiggle and pull it up out of the gravel. And right on the bottom there, we've got this elongated stem, or rhizome, as they call it. That's the part that we grate up to make that green paste that you associate with wasabi.
So let's have a look at that. How big is it?
This one, I'd say, at a guess, the rhizome's going to be about 40 centimetres in length. That's a good size.
And you're the only wasabi farm in Europe, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. It's quite niche. And it's incredibly difficult to grow. We've been at it now for about 6 years, and we're still learning every day.
We've come to your farm here in Hampshire, which used to be watercress beds. So do wasabi like similar conditions to watercress?
In a way, yeah. They're certainly both fans of a lot of fresh flowing natural spring water. We're really lucky to have that in abundance here. Wasabi is quite different in a way where it doesn't like direct sunlight. So over the top of us here, we've got these big structures with shade netting, and at the moment frost netting as well, just to keep as much sun as we can off the plants to keep them as happy as possible.
So what sort of temperatures do they like?
Ideally around about 8 to 15 degrees. So that's kind of their ideal growing temperature. They can cope with a lot colder. Thankfully, they can cope with -5, because we've had a fair bit of that lately.
I know we were saying earlier 8 to 15. It's your average British summer, really. So it's perfect for this climate.
Yeah, no, we're very lucky.
It does originate from Japan, doesn't it, wasabi?
Yeah, it does. So originally sort of grown wild in Japan, and they've certainly got a huge commercial sort of operation in Japan, and still producing probably vast majority of the world's wasabi, but we can offer fresher product here, basically, because it doesn't have to be shipped from around the world. So we can offer chefs in Europe, from predominantly the UK, not only the rhizomes but the leaves, the flowers, because the whole plant's edible, you see.
Oh, is it? We'll get on to what you do with the actual sort of wasabi root, if you like, rhizome later, but what would you do with the leaves and the flowers?
Yeah, there's all sorts you can do with them. As a whole, the plant doesn't like a lot of heat when you're cooking, but the leaves, you can treat them much like spinach, really. I know they're absolutely amazing, just dipped in a bit of tempura, batter and flash fried.
Nice.
Or even just grilled with a bit of rock salt. They're really good. They're not quite as hot as the paste that you grate from a rhizome, because they're a bit further away from the centre of the plant. They're a little bit more mild, but even just an excellent way to spice up a salad a little bit.
And what about the flowers?
Now the flowers pack a little bit more of a punch, because they come out of the rhizome quite quickly in the spring, because the plant's putting a lot of energy into regenerating. They sort of come out nice and fast from the centre of the plant and carry a lot of heat with it, so they can blow your head off a little bit sometimes.
So are they stronger than the rhizome?
Not quite, no.
Okay,
no, but plants vary. From plant to plant, they'll be slightly different.
I feel like that's a challenge that you've kind of laid down the gauntlet now. Can I try a little bit? She says bravely.
Flower on here if you'd like.
Would you eat the whole flower?
Definitely,
Really?
Yeah.
You've just said it's like to blow your head off, and now you're saying I can eat the whole flower.
Yeah, for sure.
Will I be able to talk afterwards?
Well, we'll find out, yeah.
Right, hang on.
So the more you chew, the more you're going to release that flavour.
Bit like rocket to start with.
And watercress as well.
It is. Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
I could have that in a nice cheese sandwich.
Definitely, yeah, why not? There's so many things you can put it with. People often think that it's just paired with sushi and sashimi, but it's so versatile, especially when you can use the whole plant.
Are you having wasabi for breakfast, lunch and dinner then?
Yeah, I do have it a ridiculous amount, yeah.
What's your favourite way to have it?
It's either going to be in mayonnaise or in butter, I think.
Okay.
The wasabi butter on steak is very, very good.
That.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Nice. We should have had a wasabi buffet today.
Yeah, I know, a little banquet. Yeah, amazing on venison and pork pies as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to go off and clean this up, and then maybe grate some wasabi as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, Nick, we've got a plant that you've pulled out and that you've washed. What are you going to do next to prepare it?
So I've just trimmed all the roots off it and taken sort of the excess stems away. Now what I'm going to do is just chop it off at the head. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of grating the rhizomes from the bottom where the roots were. The root's quite bitter, so that's not the nicest part. So we're going to go straight in for the tasty bit right at the top there. We've got these special graters that we use to break it down as finely as possible, so it turns it straight into a paste. And we do that because that helps it break it down at a cellular level and then releases as much of the flavour as possible. So what we're actually going to do here is create a chemical reaction. It's only going to last for about 20 minutes. It will peak after 3 to 5 minutes. That's when it'll be its hottest and its most flavoursome. 20 minutes later, it'll taste of very little. Yeah, so you're about to eat chemistry, which is pretty cool.
Now, when you say this is a special grater, could you use a normal grater, like a nutmeg grater, or was that not the same?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, so you just got to try and grate it as finely as possible, basically.
It is a paste.
But look at that lovely bright green colour. And so we're going to just scrape it off there with a little brush. And you often see it served in balls. And that's to reduce the surface area. So it stops it from oxidising and helps stall that chemical process again. So it makes the flavour last just a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can imagine as a chef that might be quite challenging if you want to grate it and then get it out of the kitchen quite quickly whilst it's still potent.
There are ways of stalling it, like locking the flavour into something with quite high fat content, like a cheese or a mayonnaise or butter. And that again stops it from oxidising and makes the flavour last a lot longer. But there you go, you tell me.
I'm going to start with a little bit. Well, what I assume is a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's a lovely green, it's like an avocado. Oh, blimey, that is quite hot. I'm glad I took a little bit. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Nice, not too hot, not a kind of chilly, unpleasant hot. It's a lovely kind of tangy hotness, I would say.
Yeah, the heat doesn't stick around. You know, with chili, it kind of it starts slow and builds, and then you start crying and so on. But with this, it kind of gets you on your tongue, and it's that sort of subtle sort of heat, quite different to what people think it is when they've had, you know, the coloured horseradish and mustards. This is actually a lot more mellow and really sweet in comparison.
Okay, I'm feeling another wasabi moment come on, Nick. If it's all right with you, I'm going to dive in and have another bit.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, please do.
It was lovely. Nick Russell from the Wasabi Company. And actually, if you head to Facebook now, the BBC Radio Solent Facebook site, you will see a video of Nick harvesting the full wasabi plant.